Welcome back to the Deep Dive Learner. Today, we are exploring a really fascinating paradox drawn from an episode transcript of the Vital Pet podcast, the Dog Health Academy.
Yeah, it's the great one. We're looking at the Belgian Malinois today, which is
Oh, man, they're just such an intense, highly athletic breed, like seemingly indestructible working dogs.
indestructible is the exact right word for how they look.
Right. And so our core mission for this deep dive is to unpack why the healthiest, toughest looking dogs might actually be the ones most at risk if we rely purely on our eyes.
Like it's such an easy trap to fall into.
Totally.
Okay.
So let me set the scene here. The source introduces this classic waiting room scenario. An owner brings in this prime condition 3-year-old Malinois.
Just an absolute physical specimen.
Exactly. I mean, vibrating with energy, looking like it could run through a brick wall. And the owner walks up to the front desk, sighs, and basically apologizes. They're like, look, he's completely healthy. I probably didn't even need to come in today. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, that apologetic sentence, it reveals a massive blind spot. It really frames the fundamental difference between treating disease, which is, reacting to what has already happened,
Right.
and true preventive care, which is all about identifying tiny microscopic risks before they ever actually limit the dog's capability.
And learner, I really want to emphasize this to you right now. While we are talking about a specific breed of dog today, the overarching lessons here about proactive maintenance versus reactive fixing, it's going to give you a major aha moment.
Oh, absolutely. Because, to understand why that dog in the waiting room desperately needs to be there, we have to pull apart this illusion of the healthy-looking dog.
Right, because looking healthy and actually being thoroughly evaluated are, they're remotely different things.
Completely different. We equate looking fit with being biologically sound,
Mm.
and that's just not how bodies work. A wellness exam isn't about confirming the obvious.
Right, you're not paying a vet to say, yep, that's a muscular dog.
Exactly. You're going in to establish a baseline. You need a snapshot of the animal when everything is perfectly functional, so you can track incredibly subtle changes over time.
Because, I mean, the vets are basically building a working knowledge of that specific individual dog, right?
Yeah, they are documenting the typical weight down to the ounce. They're analyzing the usual gait, checking baseline blood work,
Resting heart rate, normal energy levels.
all of it. Without that baseline, you have literally no comparison point.
That
You won't know if a slight change in their stride is brand new or if it's been developing for 6 months.
It makes me think of this analogy. Getting a baseline is like taking a high-definition photo of a 1,000-piece puzzle when it's perfectly assembled.
Ooh, I like that.
Right, because if you don't have that reference photo, you won't notice when a single piece from the corner goes missing, like until the whole picture starts falling apart.
That is spot on. And what's fascinating here is that in a breed this constantly active, those subtle shifts are just way too easily dismissed by the owner as normal variation.
Like, oh, he just ran hard yesterday.
Exactly. The owner thinks she's just tired from training. But the vet, looking objectively at that baseline data, sees that subtle dip as a crucial physiological clue.
So, okay, if the vet holds the baseline, I feel like as an owner, I'm almost off the hook at home. What is my job here? Because there has to be a division of labor between daily observation and, actual medical interpretation.
Oh, you are definitely not off the hook. The owner is on the front lines. Physical checks at home are crucial for feeding data into that baseline.
So what are we checking? I mean, ears, eyes.
Yeah, ears for any unusual odor or discharge. Checking the eyes for slight cloudiness, running your hands over their skin for new bumps,
Mm.
and importantly for active dogs, checking the paw pads.
Because they're running over gravel, hot asphalt, all sorts of varied terrain. So you're looking for what, like cracks or embedded debris?
Exactly. Debris that could heal over and cause a massive infection. And you also have to consistently check their body condition.
Which I imagine is really tricky with a Malinois.
Oh, it's incredibly tricky. They have this dense, lean muscle that acts like visual camouflage. Early weight changes, like fat loss, happen under the skin, but the muscle stays dominant to the naked eye.
So you actually have to get your hands on them.
You have to physically feel their ribs.
Mm-hmm.
And dental health is another big one. It's an ongoing habit linked to overall comfort and systemic inflammation, not just a one-time concern.
Right. But, okay, let me push back on this for a second. Because isn't it completely natural to, notice a bump while you're rubbing their belly, immediately hit the internet and assume the absolute worst?
Oh, the internet vet spiral.
Yes. How do you resist the urge to play internet vet and freak out?
It's hard, I know. But you have to remember the crucial distinction here. Home observation is simply about noticing a change, a new lump, a shift in appetite, whatever. Professional evaluation is about interpreting what that change actually means.
So my job is just data collection.
Precisely. Owners make two big mistakes. They either panic and try to self-diagnose from what they've read, or they swing the other way and just dismiss a change as nothing to avoid the anxiety.
Right, they just ignore it.
Yeah. But neither panicking nor dismissing serves the dog. Your goal is merely to gather the data and hand it to the professional.
I love that. Just notice it and pass it on. But, having established all these physical checks, the source material transitions into something way more invisible. With a dog this intense, the very first warning signs often aren't physical at all, are they?
No, they really aren't. They are behavioral.
Which is wild to think about. We always look for physical symptoms first, like a limp or a cough.
Right, but a Malinois' behavioral patterns will tell you a story much, much earlier. Because their baseline is just so high, they are eager to train, quick to engage.
Obsessively food motivated or toy motivated.
Exactly. So if that dog becomes subtly less interested or even a fraction of a second slower to engage or, slightly irritable.
Are they communicating a problem?
Yes. Behavioral change is often an early indicator of physical discomfort, long before any physical limp appears. Their brain is subconsciously calculating the cost of the movement before they even make it.
Okay, so what does this all mean for the owner on, like, a Tuesday when the dog just seems kind of off? How do we differentiate between a dog just having a lazy day and a genuine medical red flag?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it comes down to the breed's natural consistency. Because this breed's energy is naturally so relentless and consistent, a sustained dip is highly meaningful.
Right, as opposed to a breed that's just naturally moody or variable.
Exactly. A lazy Tuesday for a golden retriever might just be a lazy Tuesday. But for a Malinois, if that shift is sustained for more than a day or two, it is a major warning sign. But you have to judge it against that individual dog's baseline, not a generic standard.
Which leads right into this really dangerous dynamic, I think. This intense behavioral drive, this double-edged sword of resilience.
Yeah.
Because a working dog's relentless mind can actually mask a failing body, right? Especially when it comes to joint health.
It is the most challenging aspect of working with high-drive animals. The Malinois has genetic predispositions toward certain joint conditions, so mobility tracking is absolutely vital.
And it's not just about watching them run while they're fired up.
No, you have to watch how they move after the activity when the adrenaline drops. You watch their recovery speed, or if they have any hesitation to jump into the car or climb the stairs.
It's so easy to misinterpret that. The trap is an owner sees a decline in enthusiasm for, like, catching a Frisbee, and they assume the dog simply has a change in preference.
Right, they think, oh, he's just maturing, he doesn't like Frisbee anymore. In reality, it's physical discomfort. The pain of the landing is outweighing the reward of the catch.
And the wait-and-see approach here is incredibly risky. Because they are so willing to push through pain, they won't show clear signals until an issue is severely advanced. It reminds me of an elite, hyper-competitive pro athlete.
Oh, that's a perfect comparison.
Right, like a superstar who will gladly play through a sprained ankle just to win the championship game. The adrenaline completely overrides the pain. So the owner basically has to act as the head coach who actively pulls them out of the game to protect them from themselves.
That is exactly it. The danger of resilience is very real here. A dog's willingness to keep engaging through pain makes early professional evaluation absolutely critical. You cannot wait for them to physically break down.
And that professional evaluation can't be generic either. The source was very clear that vaccinations, parasite prevention, and screenings like blood work need to be highly tailored.
Yeah, an active dog exposed to varied environments, swimming in lakes, tracking through the woods, they need custom plans discussed with a vet to catch internal markers before symptoms ever appear.
Okay, so we've outlined a massive amount of things to monitor here. Paws, skin, subtle behavioral dips, joint hesitation, tailored blood work. It is a lot.
It sounds overwhelming when you list it all out at once.
Totally. So to prevent the listener from feeling total information overload, we have to talk about how to make this practically manageable. We have to weave the unglamorous into the everyday.
And that's the secret, really. Preventive care doesn't require complicated new systems. It's just about attaching habits to existing routines.
Right, like doing a quick paw and skin check during the normal wind down after a walk.
Exactly. You're already wiping their feet. Just look a little closer. Or check their body condition during regular feeding times when you're already petting them.
And booking wellness visits on a predictable, recurring schedule, rather than just waiting until you're worried to react.
Yes, because this consistency compounds over years. It builds an incredibly strong, intuitive sense of what is normal for that specific dog.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because when I was reading this, I realized this sounds exactly like Atomic Habits, but for dog owners.
Oh, yeah, completely.
You're just making the routine so invisible and frictionless that it actually gets done without you even thinking about it.
And that familiarity, built over a lifetime of paying attention, is genuinely the most powerful, cost-free preventive tool you have available.
It's totally unglamorous, but elite physical performance and working capability depend entirely on this routine care. Prevention protects the foundation of their extraordinary capability.
It really does.
So, learner, to synthesize all of this deep dive for you, prevention is not the opposite of an active, high-performing lifestyle. It is the very thing that makes that lifestyle sustainable. Consistent care isn't a response to a problem, it's what keeps the problem from existing in the first place.
Which is such a powerful mindset, and this raises an important question.
Oh, what's that?
Well, I want to leave the listener with a final concept to mull over. Let's call it the burden of stoicism.
The burden of stoicism. I like that.
Think about what we just discussed with the dogs and apply it to your own life. Look at your workplace, your systems, your relationships. Often, the people or tools that complain the least, the ones that are the most stoic, reliable, and high-performing, they are actually the ones most at risk of sudden burnout or failure.
Wow, because they hide their symptoms so well.
Exactly. Their drive overrides their exhaustion. So ask yourself, are there stoic areas in your own life where a lack of visible problems is giving you a false sense of security, areas where you desperately need to establish a preventive baseline before the whole system quietly breaks?
That is brilliant. Are you relying on the illusion of health in your own life? Such a great thought to end on. Learner, keep questioning the obvious and looking beneath the surface, especially when things look indestructible. Thanks for joining us, and we will catch you on the next Deep Dive.